Have you ever felt stuck in a rut? How did you overcome it and reinvent yourself?
What are the biggest fears that hold us back from reinventing ourselves? And how can we overcome these fears and embrace change? So join us today as we discuss reinventing self.
Hi there, everyone, and welcome back to the Joy Without Justification podcast. We are your one-stop spot for finding peace, purpose, and presence. No explanation is needed. So today we are going to explore a life's turning point and remind ourselves that joy isn't something we need to earn. It's something we can embrace at any moment. I'm your host, Denny.
And I'm your host, Dan. Today we are going to talk about a powerful idea, and that it's never too late to realize your potential. Both Denny and I have been through experiences that made us question whether we could change, grow, or find joy again. And here we are, proof that you can always turn things around. So Denny, let's start with you. When did you first start thinking, I need to do things differently?
Yeah. Well, I can honestly say it wasn't some dramatic moment. You don't get like this lightning flash like you see in some movies or TV shows. It was more like a growing awareness that something was missing, and I'd wake up every day feeling, sort of stuck in the same loop,
Yeah.
And I thought, is this it? Is this all life is? Well, that's when I started exploring different ways on how to break out of that mold, that mindset. And through just living my life and just being more present, that's when I started really finding who I truly was.
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh, I'm a complicated nightmare. So I grew up with a kind of fear of rejection, of worth. So there was always this fear of failing, of not measuring up, of being rejected, and I couldn't get past that. So that was most of my life, and I was trying to be all things for all people. That would wear me out, and just kind of felt like I wasn't really being my true self. So through some psychedelic therapy, then I gave Zen meditation a try. And first it was hard because it's hard to get your mind to settle because my mind's very chaotic. But once I understood the purpose of it, and the more I sat with it, the more I realized the goal wasn't to stop my thoughts, but to observe them. So that shift made the difference. So, I kind of started seeing my true nature, stripping away all the layers of belief that I held. And then I was able to start making some changes that felt natural.
Yeah, that's definitely a struggle, and it's hard to break some old habits. And I mean, we all face that, what you're used to waking up every morning and doing and everything. I kept slipping back into some patterns.
Yeah.
Like I still get up every morning like I did when I was going to work every day.
Yeah.
But what I found was more, I committed even in small ways. The easier it got, it's like building a muscle. How about you? Did you ever find easy ways to stick with the changes?
No. I'd make progress and then fall right back into self-doubt. But over time, I think you learn to see that those are moments are just part of the journey, right? I mean, you progress, then you kind of fall. It's like being on a diet, kind of. You eat, good, and then there's a chocolate cake. So yeah, so I think that's just part of the journey. It's not you're just kind of not going in a straight line. But speaking of progress, what's one thing that you discovered about yourself during this journey that surprised you?
I found that I was capable of so much more than what I thought I could do. I used to believe that my circumstances defined me, but I really started realizing that it was all in my mind, and that was what was holding me back. And once I started shifting my focus more towards what I could be as opposed to what I was, the new possibilities that opened up for me, and I just don't ever see myself ever wanting to fall back in that mindset. What about you?
It was I think finding out that I really did have strength, that I didn't believe was there, and that there's more to me than what my fears showed me. So I found that I was stronger. I found that I mattered. I found that I could just be my authentic self, and then be able to have people to care for me, because I was always told, everything that was wrong with me growing up. So I think you kind of wear a mask. You try to be what you want others to see so that you feel accepted. And I think you just get to a point where that all falls away and you're happy with your authentic self. So finding that strength to just embrace myself and the passions that I have in life really helped me. That's what it helped me to see.
Well, I want to say one of the things that to me really, really helped the changing of my mindset was the first time when I drove down here to meet you.
Yeah.
I never was really a big person to think that, I grew up in Pennsylvania. I wanted to stay a Pennsylvania boy and everything. And so whoever I'd meet and want to spend my life with had to be Pennsylvania. And when I started talking to you and you were like, well, I live in West Virginia. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ, wow. Do you plan on ever wanting to move this way and live? But no. Then I set my mind one night of driving down, meeting you, and I think right there is another step that changed my life to breaking out of that rut of wanting to stay in the state I was born in.
Yeah.
And coming down here, meeting you, meeting new people, starting my life over again.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I used to feel the way all the time. I'd tell myself, I'm too old, too set in my ways. But here's the thing. As long as you're alive, you have the power to change. What do you think? I mean, what about you? What was your major turning point?
Oh, geez. I guess changing a career, going from something that I had done for 38 years into a field I knew nothing about, kind of showed me that I'm able to do whatever I set my mind to do.
Yeah.
That was the big turning point for me. And I'm able to maybe, I don't know that I want to stay there, but I'm able, if I decide to leave, I'm able to just do it. I'm able to do it because I've done it once.
Yeah. But we all need to just remember, you need to start small. These things don't happen overnight. You may realize it, but don't overwhelm yourself with the big picture.
Right.
Take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
Even if it's tiny, you make one little tiny change, be proud of that change.
Do something that's outside of your comfort zone.
And you can always build from there.
Yeah.
So, Dan, what advice would you give?
Be patient. Growth isn't a straight line, and setbacks don't mean you're doing it wrong. They just are part of the process. So, what's one thing you'd wish you'd known when you started this journey?
That I didn't have to do it alone. And that was my thing. I felt like I had to do it alone because who was I going to ask to help me with?
Yeah.
I used to think of asking for help was a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
And, but it's really a sign of strength. I mean, we all need help at some point. And how about you?
I wish I'd known that progress matters more than perfection, because trying is really all that counts. So as we wrap up, what's one message you want listeners to take away from today?
That it's never too late to embrace your potential. If you're listening to this, you've already taken the first step. Dan?
I'd say don't underestimate yourself. You're capable of so much more than you think, and the best time to start is now.
So, we want to thank you for joining us today. And if our conversation resonated with you, we'd love to hear from you. Send us your thoughts, feelings, questions, or any topics you think you might want to hear us discuss at joywithoutjustification@gmail.com. And tune in next time when we will look at the dream job dilemma.
All right. And until next time, take care of yourselves, keep moving forward, and peace out.